chosen one. The word has already gone forth. Your victory is not waiting to be written, it is already sealed. You are not contending for approval, you are walking in confirmation. Heaven has stamped your destiny with the royal insignia of completion. The battle is no longer about proving your strength, but about trusting His seal. You have stood in storms that should have broken you, yet somehow, you still stand. You've wondered why the waves came so fiercely. It's because what's sealed carries weight. Gold is tested by fire, not to destroy it, but to reveal its purity. That's what happened to you. Every dark night, every unanswered prayer, every moment of silence was not God ignoring you, it was God securing you. There's a story I recall about a man named Elias. He spent years trying to make things happen through sheer willpower, praying, pushing, exhausting himself to prove he still had control. But one day, everything fell apart. His business failed, his health declined, and his friends disappeared. It was in that breaking that he discovered what sealed victory truly meant. He stopped striving. He began to whisper prayers of surrender instead of strategies of survival. And it was then that peace, quiet, deep, unshakable peace filled his heart. Not because his circumstances changed, but because he did. That peace, chosen one, is what happens when you finally realize you've already won. The enemy's noise can't unseal what God has signed. The hands that wrote your name in heaven are the same hands that hold you now. Picture this, a wax seal pressed onto parchment by a king's ring. When that wax hardens, no messenger dares tamper with it, for the mark is sovereign authority. In the same way, God's Spirit has sealed you an invisible, irreversible mark of belonging and completion. Every fear, every doubt, every accusation that rises against you breaks on that seal like waves on stone. You have prayed long enough. Now heaven says, rest. This is not the rest of giving up, it's the rest of stepping into what's already done. You no longer need to beg for the promise. You are invited to breathe in it. The world may tell you rest means delay, but in God's language, rest means trust. It's the proof that you believe He's already at work. When you stop trying to make things happen, you give space for grace to move. There's a stillness that only the chosen ones know, the calm that follows surrender. It doesn't make sense to the logical mind, but your spirit recognizes it instantly. It's that quiet awareness that says, I don't have to fight for what's already mine. As written in the book of Hebrews, chapter 4, verse 10, for the one who has entered his rest has also rested from his works, just as God did from his. That is the posture of sealed victory, resting like God rested. Not because there's nothing left to do, but because everything that mattered has been done. You don't need to rehearse your failures anymore. You don't need to explain your faith to those who mock it. When the king seals a decree, he doesn't debut it. Heaven does not take votes. Your outcome is not a democracy, it's a divine declaration. Listen even now. As you read this, heaven's peace is pressing into your spirit, the same peace that wrapped around the tomb before resurrection, the same peace that hovered over creation before light was spoken. That peace is finding you again. It's whispering, you can stop running now. There is no striving in sealed victory. There is only resting in revelation. You don't have to chase confirmation when the author himself has already signed the final page of your story. You are stepping into a rhythm of grace now, no longer the frantic pulse of trying to survive, but the steady heartbeat of one who knows the battle was won long before they entered the arena. So lift your eyes. Breathe. The seal stands. The proof remains. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead is the same Spirit that guards your peace. And nothing, not failure, not fear, not even delay can remove what has been set by the hand of God. If this word reached your heart, take a moment to mark your agreement. Share it forward, not as noise, but as light. Let others feel the echo of rest through you. Click. Comment 777 and stay connected, because sometimes the message that sets another free begins with your obedience to share it. This is not coincidence, it's divine confirmation. The heavenly seal is upon you, and your victory is already complete. You've been through the fire, and yet, somehow, you didn't burn. The smoke tried to cling to you, but it couldn't. What others saw as destruction was actually refinement. You weren't losing, you were being purified. Every flame that surrounded you was heaven's forge, not to end you, but to extract the gold within you. Sometimes, chosen one. It's only in the fire that the true you is revealed. When everything unnecessary melts away, only purpose remains. You might have felt like you were being undone, but in reality, God was undoing everything that didn't belong to your calling. Think back on the moments you thought would destroy you. The night you cried until your chest ached. The days when betrayal stole your appetite. The seasons when silence felt like punishment. Those weren't wasted. Every moment was fire with intention. Fire doesn't apologize. It consumes. And yet, in the hands of the Creator, it also consecrates. When gold is placed into the furnace, the craftsman doesn't leave it unattended. His eyes stay fixed on the metal, waiting for the perfect shine to appear. He knows precisely when to pull it out, not too soon, not too late. That's how God has watched you through your storms. His gaze never left you. You may not realize it yet, but the strength you carry now was formed in those flames. Your resilience wasn't born in comfort, it was carved in heat. And while others may see your scars as reminders of pain, heaven sees them as proof of endurance, divine tattoos of survival. I once met a man named Caleb who had gone through loss after loss. His business collapsed, his home was taken, and his family turned away. For years, he asked God, "Why me?" But as time passed, he began to notice something shift inside him. The bitterness faded, the fear quieted. He stopped demanding answers and started recognizing the presence that never left him, even in the ashes. Later, when he rebuilt, he didn't rebuild from ambition, he rebuilt from peace. The same fire that broke him burned away, everything false, leaving only what was eternal. That's what the fire does. It doesn't destroy your destiny, it destroys your dependence on anything that can't survive divine heat. You've walked through seasons that others wouldn't have endured. You kept believing when logic said to quit. You kept forgiving when your heart screamed revenge. That's not weakness, that's refinement. Look at you now. You're no longer fragile clay, you're tempered glass. You've been heated, cooled, and strengthened by pressure. And when light passes through you now, it refracts, scattering grace in every direction. If only you could see how heaven watched you in those hardest moments, angels surrounding the furnace, not to stop the flame, but to ensure it never consumed you. They knew what was being birthed from that blaze, a purified vessel, radiant and indestructible. There's a moment every refined soul reaches a quiet recognition that the fire wasn't an enemy, but a midwife. It delivered something new, something stronger, something eternal. The Spirit spoke long ago through the prophet Zechariah, saying that God would bring his people through fire and call them his own. You are living that truth. You are walking testimony that pain can be holy. The fire was never meant to end you. It was meant to expose the unbreakable core within you. You've proven that even when everything else is stripped away, your faith remains. You may still smell the faint memory of smoke on your soul, but it is not the scent of loss, it's the fragrance of survival. Every time you inhale, remember, you made it through what was meant to consume you. And in this still moment, the same God who allowed the flame whispers, you came out glowing. And the Word of God declares in the book of Isaiah, chapter 48, verse 10, Behold, I have refined you, but not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. You are that testimony, the living reflection of this scripture. You've been refined, not reduced, tested, not tarnished. Now, as the embers cool, peace settles where panic used to live. You understand now the fire wasn't punishment, it was promotion. You've been reshaped for purpose that pain alone could not produce. There is no bitterness left in you, only brilliance, the glow of one who endured, emerged, and carries the evidence of divine craftsmanship. And as you step forward, remember, no flame can touch what's been sealed by God. You walked through the fire, and now the fire bows to you. The battle that broke others built you. The same storm that shattered foundations for many became the training ground for your spirit. You didn't escape the pain, you evolved through it. Every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, every moment of rejection, none of it was wasted. Heaven used every blow to carve something indestructible inside you. Others walked through similar fire and were consumed, but you emerged different. You walked out with scars that tell a story hell can't erase. The very thing that tried to silence you became the sound of your testimony. That's why your presence carries weight. Now you are not speaking theory, you are speaking survival. There's a sacred kind of strength that's born only from brokenness. You can't learn it in comfort. It's found in those moments when you cried out, Lord, I can't do this anymore, and still got up the next day. You didn't know it then, but every time you rose again, heaven was writing a new chapter of endurance. You thought you were breaking apart, but you were breaking open, like a seed buried beneath the soil. Pressure surrounded you, darkness covered you, and silence pressed in. Yet under that pressure, life was moving. The outer shell had to crack for the inner life to breathe. That's what your struggle did. It made way for growth that couldn't happen in the light. There was a man named Jaron who once lost everything in one cruel season: his business, his health, and his marriage. He said it felt like his entire life had collapsed into ash. But in that ash, he started to pray differently. No more demanding, no more explaining, just kiat, trust. If this is my breaking, he said, then break what needs to go. Months later, without striving, opportunities began to bloom again. He discovered that sometimes God rebuilds you only after he's stripped away what you thought you needed. That's your story too. The breaking didn't ruin you, it revealed you. The pain that once made you question God has become the proof that He never left. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 8, "We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair." Empty. That verse could have been written with your name beside it. You were pressed, but not crushed, confused, but never hopeless. You were stretched, refined, and redefined. Every time life tried to push you under, grace gave you breath. Now you stand as someone different. You are the survivor others look for when they need proof that faith still works. You don't just quote victory, you wear it. Your silence carries authority because it's filled with the memory of endurance. You are like tempered glass, transparent, yet stronger than before. When light passes through you, it bends and scatters in unexpected beauty. That's what your story does. It refracts grace into the world around you. The enemy thought breaking you would bury you, but he underestimated the seed within you. The ground that tried to hide you only helped your roots grow deeper. The more you were pressed, the more power began to emerge. Every wound you carry now glows with wisdom. Every scar is an altar that says, "God met me here." You are no longer ashamed of what happened. You understand it now. The breaking built capacity. The losses made room for peace. The tears watered your anointing. You've reached the place where pain no longer defines you. It refines you. You can speak peace in places that once triggered you. You can forgive those who hurt you because you've outgrown the need to carry that weight. You are not fragile. You are fortified. So, when you see your reflection, don't see what was broken, see what was built. You are the temple after the storm, standing not because the winds stopped, but because the foundation held. Now, I want you to pause and affirm it out loud or in the comments. Built from brokenness. End quote. Write it as a declaration, not for attention, but for remembrance. Every time you say it, you remind your spirit that nothing was wasted. You remind darkness that you found light, even in its shadows. You remind heaven that you recognize the miracle of your making. Because the truth is simple yet profound. The battle that broke others didn't break you. It built you, refined you, and prepared you for glory that pain could never cancel. And as you walk forward now, remember this: your strength is not borrowed, it's born. What once hurt you now honors you. You are living proof that divine endurance always wins. Heaven's court has ruled in your favor. The verdict has already been spoken, and the gavel has fallen. Every accusation that once hovered over your life has been silenced by mercy. What once condemned you has no legal ground to speak anymore. Grace stood as your advocate, and the judge of eternity declared, "Not guilty, redeemed." You've been carrying burdens that were never meant to be retried. The evidence of your past, your mistakes, your fears, they were brought before heaven's throne. And every charge was dismissed by the blood that still speaks louder than your failures. You are no longer on trial, you are standing in testimony. Imagine it for a moment, a vast courtroom of light. The accuser stands, listing your wrongs, whispering your regrets. But before he finishes, the sound of rushing wind fills the room, the presence of the advocate, the Son, standing beside you. He raises his hand, and instantly, silence covers the atmosphere. "This one," he says, has already been paid for. The judge nods once, and a seal is placed across your name. Justified. That is not poetry. That is your reality. The spiritual realm already recognizes your acquittal. Every chain that tried to keep you bound was broken in that courtroom. Every guilt that tried to choke your confidence has been invalidated by grace. You keep trying to prove your worth, but heaven already ruled you worthy. You keep rehearsing your past, but heaven already wrote your future. The verdict didn't just release you, it redefined you. You are not the same as before the trial. Something shifts when you realize heaven has spoken. You stop striving to be accepted. You start walking as someone already embraced. The sound of condemnation no longer fits in your ears. You walk lighter because the weight of guilt is gone. I once met a woman named Micaiah who lived years believing she was disqualified from God's love. Every time she prayed, she could still hear the echo of shame. She thought her failures had closed heaven's door forever. But one night, while reading the story of the prodigal son, she felt something inside break. It wasn't sadness, it was freedom. She realized she had been holding a verdict that heaven never gave. From that day, her prayers changed. She no longer begged for forgiveness. She thanked God for the forgiveness already given. Peace began to flow like breath, returning to a drowning soul. That's what happens when revelation replaces religion. You begin to live from grace, not guilt. The world might still remember your mistakes, but heaven does not. The records that condemned you were erased by divine decree. You don't need to explain yourself anymore. The case is closed. The prophet Jeremiah once wrote that God would forgive iniquity and remember sin no more. That wasn't just ancient promise, that's divine law. When God chooses to forget, no voice in hell can remind him. As the Word of God declares in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 31, if God is for us, who can be against us? That's the final word over your life. The highest court in existence has spoken, and its decision is eternal. No lower authority can overrule what heaven has sealed. You see, the accuser doesn't actually have power. He only has suggestion. His strength is in your agreement. When you stop agreeing with guilt, you silence him completely. You are stepping into a season of unshakable confidence now, not arrogance, but assurance. You no longer pray from fear, you pray from favor. You don't enter the presence of God like a defendant waiting for punishment. You enter like a son or daughter welcomed home. You were not saved just to survive judgment. You were redeemed to reign after it. Every time you choose peace instead of panic, you're walking in that verdict. Every time you forgive instead of retaliate, you're enforcing that ruling. The enemy will still try to present evidence, but all he holds are ashes. Heaven already burned the record. The courtroom of grace does not allow double jeopardy, so lift your head. The trial is over. The sentence is freedom. You are no longer under review, you are under redemption. Heaven's court has ruled once and forever in your favor, and the seal upon that judgment will never fade. You walk now, not as one awaiting mercy, but as one crowned by it. The silence you feel isn't judgment, it's peace. The sound of heaven's gavel echoing. Case dismissed forever. And when the accuser whispers again, smile softly. His words no longer apply to you. The law of grace overrules every shadow. You're not condemned. You're commissioned, covered, and free. Step out of striving and into stillness. You've spent years fighting battles that were already won, trying to earn what was freely given. The time for struggle is over. Heaven isn't asking you to perform, it's inviting you to rest. Rest doesn't mean inactivity, it means inner trust. It's the quiet confidence that says, I know God is still working, even when I can't see Him. There's a moment every chosen soul must reach the surrender of control. When you finally lay down the need to fix everything, you begin to feel the rhythm of heaven. You stop wrestling for answers and start walking in assurance. It's like standing beside the ocean after a storm. The waves still move, but the chaos is gone. You've carried burdens that were never meant for your shoulders. Every time you tried to push forward in your own strength, exhaustion met you. That tiredness you feel isn't weakness, it's a divine invitation to let go. You've mistaken motion for progress, but motion without direction only wears you out. Stillness, however, restores clarity. There's a beauty in surrender. Picture yourself as a kite. The more you fight against the wind, the harder it becomes to stay aloft. But when you align yourself with the current, the same wind that once resisted you begins to lift you. That's what divine rest feels like. You stop flapping in panic and start soaring in grace. I remember a story about a young man named Jonah. He was gifted, called, full of fire, but he was always running. He believed that the more he did, the more God would bless him. Years later, he hit a wall: burnout, broken relationships, and silence. It was in that silence that he finally understood. God never needed his performance, He wanted His presence. From that moment, Jonah stopped striving. He began to move slower, to listen more, to breathe again. And in that stillness, opportunities began to find him. That's how grace works. It doesn't chase noise, it flows where peace resides. When God calls you into rest, He's not punishing your drive, He's protecting your soul. The blessing you seek is already on the way, but it can only land on a still heart. Sometimes heaven delays not to deny, but to teach you rhythm. The world glorifies speed, but heaven honors surrender. Rest is not laziness, it's obedience. It's saying, God, I trust you enough to pause. End quote. The ancient text in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14 says it best. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. End quote. Even now, that promise wraps around you. You don't have to push every door open. Some doors open simply because your spirit stayed calm long enough for heaven's hand to turn the handle. And in this peace, your heart begins to see differently. You start noticing the beauty in small things again, the morning light through your window, the warmth of your coffee, the sound of laughter returning. These are gentle reminders that life doesn't need to be forced, it unfolds. I want to speak from the heart here. If this message finds you in a place of exhaustion, I want you to breathe. You don't owe God performance, you owe Him presence. You don't prove faith by effort, you live it by trust. And as this word pours into your soul, if it brings comfort or clarity, consider tending the flame that warmed you. Press the heart, not as routine, but as a small amen to what touched you. Share it forward like you're passing a candle in the dark. One spark can light a whole horizon. Subscribe if you wish to walk together through the next revelations that heaven unfolds. Let this be our meeting place in the rhythm of grace. And should you ever feel a whisper inside, gentle, unforced, leading you to donate. Let it be like watering a garden that once gave you shade. You're not paying for light, you're helping it reach someone still sitting in the dark. Even a drop of generosity becomes a river when given from peace. There's no demand here, only invitation. Just as heaven invites you to rest, this space invites you to participate from love. If you can't give, your listening is already a gift. If you can, your offering becomes the wing that carries hope a little farther. So today, release the pressure. Bestil. Let your peace ripple into others through these small acts, a click, a share, a seed. The same way calm waters reflect the sky. Your simple gestures reflect heaven. You are learning that rest is strength and giving is grace. Both flow from the same source, love, like the river that never forces its course. Your heart too can move, freely, generous, peaceful, and steady. You're not striving anymore, you're flowing. The rest that activates reward, that's where you stand now. This is not the stillness of defeat, but the posture of trust. You've learned that when your spirit grows quiet, heaven begins to move loudly. Rest is not the absence of effort, it's the presence of alignment. When you rest in faith, you declare that you believe God can handle what you cannot. You stop chasing, stop forcing, stop trying to earn what's already appointed. In that surrender, miracles begin to appear like dawn breaking after a long night. Think of a farmer who plants his seed. He doesn't pull the soil apart every morning to check if the roots have grown. He trusts the process hidden beneath the earth. That's what your rest is doing now. It's cultivating unseen growth. Every time you choose peace over panic, heaven calls it faith. There's a quiet story unfolding, even when nothing seems to move. The silence around you is not empty, it's full of divine construction. Angels are aligning circumstances, people, and timing. You don't have to see it to believe it. You only have to stay still long enough for it to manifest. When you rest, you're not being passive, you're positioning yourself for overflow. The world measures success by movement, but heaven measures it by trust. I once met a woman named Alina who struggled to understand this principle. She worked tirelessly, praying harder, fasting longer, trying to prove her devotion. But the more she pushed, the more drained she became. One evening, sitting by a window with rain tracing soft lines down the glass, she heard a voice in her heart. Be still, and I will show you what I can do when you stop trying to be me. She stopped striving that night. She rested. Weeks later, the job she had chased for years found her. The friend she had lost reappeared, with reconciliation in his heart. Everything she had been running toward began running toward her. That's what rest does. It turns pursuit into attraction. When your spirit is calm, heaven recognizes your signal of readiness. As spoken in the book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 7, be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways. No, the verse isn't an instruction of delay, it's a strategy for dominion. Stillness doesn't stop the promise, it secures it. Every blessing that belongs to you is orbiting closer, waiting for your peace to open the gate. Worry closes doors, but worship, even silent worship, unlocks them. You've been taught to fight for what's yours, but now heaven is teaching you to rest into it. When you stop grasping, your hands become open enough to receive. This rest is not empty time. It's holy ground. It's where God whispers direction you could never hear in chaos. It's where your mind is renewed, your heart is restored, and your purpose becomes clear again. You've entered a season where peace itself is prophetic. When others panic, you will remain calm. When others chase, you will attract. That's what happens when heaven sees trust it, rewards it. But don't mistake rest for retreat. You're not stepping back in fear. You're stepping aside to let grace go first. You're letting heaven lead the dance. And in that rhythm, you'll find that doors open without knocking. Answers appear without searching. Provision flows without pressure. Because rest is not withdrawal, it's worship in motion. Maybe life taught you that you must earn everything, but grace teaches you something deeper. When you rest in God, you've already qualified for more than effort can produce. So today, stop measuring progress by how fast things move. Measure it by how deeply you trust. Every breath of peace you choose is a seed of reward being planted in unseen soil. Pause right now, not in hesitation, but in holy confidence, and let this truth sink in. Your stillness is speaking louder than your striving ever did. And if this word finds you at the edge of weariness, let your comment be your quiet agreement. Type 333 below a symbol between you and heaven. The echo of divine balance. The number 3 has always represented wholeness, Father, Son, and Spirit, and when repeated, it becomes a trinity of peace. Typing 333 isn't about superstition. It's a small prophetic act that says, I align myself with divine rhythm. I choose rest. And let it be your gentle response to God's whisper, your way of saying, I trust you with the unseen. I can, because it will happen. The river of reward flows toward calm waters. And today, that still water carries your reflection. Divine timing is no delay. What feels like waiting to you is actually orchestration from heaven's side. The pauses in your story were never empty. They were sacred appointments unfolding beyond your sight. You may have thought heaven was silent, but in truth, heaven was synchronizing every step of your journey. Every turn that confused you has been part of a larger rhythm. You are walking through divine choreography, each moment placed with purpose. When God writes your timeline, He doesn't rush, and He doesn't stall. He moves according to eternity, not urgency. You've been standing in the tension between promise and fulfillment, wondering if you missed something, if you took a wrong turn, if maybe the timing passed you by. But hear this clearly. Delay is not denial. The waiting was working for you all along, the same way a seed lies buried before it sprouts. Your purpose was developing roots in secret places. Waiting doesn't waste you, it weaves you. God never pauses without preparing. Every unanswered prayer became soil for maturity. Every quiet season taught you how to trust without proof. You were not forgotten, you were being formed. There's a moment I recall vividly. A man named Eli had been waiting for years for the restoration of his family. He kept asking, when will it be my time? Seasons changed. Opportunities appeared and vanished, and he began to feel invisible. But one night, as he walked home under the still sky, something within him whispered, it's not that your time hasn't come, it's that I've been aligning others with yours. Months later, everything that once fell apart began to fall together. The restoration didn't arrive late. it arrived right on time. That's how divine timing works. It's not about speed, it's about synchronization. Heaven doesn't rush perfection. It releases it when every detail sings in harmony. There's a tree in the high desert that doesn't bloom for the first 7 years of its life. People pass by it, thinking it's lifeless, unaware that deep beneath the sand, its roots are spreading wide enough to survive drought for decades. When it finally blossoms, it doesn't need rain. It thrives on what was stored. That's you. Your roots have been growing quietly in unseen soil. You're being prepared to outlast what others only endure for a season. It's hard, I know, to watch others move ahead while you stand still. You've seen people promoted, celebrated, stepping into dreams you've prayed for, and you've wondered why heaven keeps you waiting. But what if the delay is mercy? What if God is holding your promise until you can hold it without it breaking you? When a child is born prematurely, it needs an incubator warmth. Kare, time to grow stronger before facing the world. That's what divine delay often is, incubation. You are not being denied. You are being protected from premature exposure. Every divine calling carries a weight. If the timing comes too soon, the blessing can crush what it was meant to crown. But when it comes at the appointed hour, it sustains instead of suffocates, as revealed in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it tarry. Wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not delay." Umkli, that promise doesn't just speak about prophecy, it speaks about process. The appointed time isn't future, it's fulfillment waiting for your readiness. Heaven's calendar has never been late. You are not standing still, you are being aligned. Heaven has been shifting hearts, rearranging schedules, positioning doors so that when you arrive, everything greets you in perfect harmony. And when that moment comes, and it won't feel rushed. It will feel right. Like puzzle pieces snapping into place after years of scattered searching. You'll look back and realize that, if it had come earlier, you wouldn't have been ready. And if it had come later, you would have lost heart. Every waiting season is a classroom. It teaches humility, patience, and discernment. You've learned to worship without reward, to stay faithful without applause. That's not wasted effort, that's spiritual muscle. And one day, you'll thank God for every not yet. Because when the now finally comes, it will be surrounded by peace, not pressure. So breathe in this truth. Divine timing is not your enemy, it's your escort. It's been walking beside you, unseen, guiding you to the intersection where destiny and readiness finally meet. Your story is not behind schedule. It's unfolding on the only clock that matters, the eternal one. The seconds you've counted in frustration are sacred beats in heaven's symphony. And when the music swells and the curtain lifts, you'll realize it was never delay. It was design. The weight of glory is settling on you. You may not see it, but heaven is clothing you in something unseen yet undeniable. What once felt like pressure is turning into presence. This is the moment where purpose begins to press through your spirit like light, through stained glass, radiant, colorful, and born of many broken pieces, now rearranged by grace. Glory has a way of arriving quietly. It doesn't always appear as thunder or fire. Sometimes it comes as a gentle awareness that you've changed. You speak differently, walk differently, think differently. The things that once drained you no longer control you. That is not coincidence. That is the weight of glory shifting the atmosphere within you. The world teaches that glory is about applause and recognition, but heaven's version is weightier. It humbles before it lifts. It doesn't decorate you. It transforms you. It makes you softer in spirit but stronger in conviction. When God's glory rests on someone, even silence becomes sacred. There's a kind of heaviness that doesn't oppress, it anchors. That's what this season is about. God isn't trying to overwhelm you. He's teaching you to carry something eternal. You've endured seasons of fire, refining, and waiting because you're being prepared to hold glory without breaking under it. I think of a potter's hands, firm but gentle, shaping clay that resists form. The potter knows how much pressure the vessel can bear. He doesn't rush the process because he understands that once the shape is sealed, it must be able to hold both water and fire. You are that vessel. The molding wasn't punishment, it was preparation. And now, as you've yielded to his shaping, heaven releases its substance glory that clings, glory that speaks, glory that rests in the quiet. You may feel it as stillness that doesn't fade. It's a kind of peace that doesn't ask for proof. It just is. When you walk into rooms, the atmosphere begins to shift. Not because of words, but because of what you carry. Glory has weight. It makes the unseen tangible. You might wonder, why me? Because the glory always falls on those who refuse to quit. It descends on the faithful, the surrendered, the ones who stayed even when it hurt to stay. You didn't just survive your storms, you stayed teachable within them. That's why heaven trusts you now. When Moses descended from the mountain, the people could not even look at his face, for it carried reflection of what he had seen. That's what's happening to you, not outward brightness, but inward brilliance, the kind that cannot be hidden. Glory doesn't make you louder, it makes you clearer. It doesn't make you proud, it makes you present. It settles you in identity while humbling you in gratitude. You begin to realize that everything that happened was necessary, every delay, every disappointment, every detour. The glory needs depth to rest. Shallow hearts can't hold it. You've noticed it, haven't you? How you handle conflict differently now. How you no longer rush to defend yourself. How you move slower but with greater peace. That's not fatigue, it's wisdom. That's how glory feels when it finally fits. It's the same way. A crown feels heavy. At first it reminds the head, it must bow before it can lead. The anointing that rests on you is teaching you the same rhythm, bowed in spirit, bold in purpose. As the Word of God reveals in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 17, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." No, that's the exchange. Temporary pain for timeless presence. You are stepping into the afterglow of everything that once tried to break you. Heaven always balances the scales. Glory, in its truest form, is not about being seen, it's about being sent. The moment you stop chasing recognition is the moment heaven entrusts you with influence. God hides his greatest carriers of glory in humility because pride can't breathe under that weight. You may feel small right now, but heaven calls that posture strength. Even the smallest candle carries fire that darkness can't extinguish. That's the paradox of glory. It descends heavy, but it shines light. So don't rush this moment. Let the weight settle. Let it teach you stillness. Let it reframe how you see yourself, not as a survivor of seasons, but as a steward of something sacred. When others look at you and sense peace they can't explain, they'll know the truth. Something holy rests upon you, and that something will not lift. The weight of glory is not a burden, it's belonging. It's heaven's way of saying, I trust you to carry what reflects me. You are surrounded by angels on assignment, even when you feel alone. Heaven's army has never left your side. They walk with you through unseen corridors, guiding your steps, shielding you from harm you never even noticed. The air around you carries more protection than you realize. There have been moments when destruction was scheduled against you, yet somehow it never reached. The accident that almost happened, the illness that suddenly lifted, the relationship that ended just in time, those weren't coincidences, those were interventions. The unseen guard moved before the danger even had a chance to touch you. The truth is, the spiritual realm has always been more active than your eyes can see. Angels do not appear only in visions or dreams. They operate in ordinary days. They are the quiet hands that close wrong doors and open right ones. They are heaven's messengers, delivering unseen answers to prayers you thought were ignored. You've walked through storms and didn't drown because something stronger than wind stood beside you. You've entered dark rooms but still carried light because someone was holding a torch for you. These protectors are not imagined, they are assigned. Imagine walking through a forest at night. You can't see far ahead, but there's a faint light that moves just in front of you. Every time you step forward, that light moves too, guiding your path one step at a time. That's how angelic presence feels, not always dramatic, but constant. I remember a story about a mother named Hannah. Her son was driving late at night on a road slick with rain. A truck veered across the lane, and for a split second, it seemed collision was inevitable. But as if guided by invisible hands, his car shifted just enough to escape disaster. He came home shaken, whispering, "I don't know how I made it." His mother smiled through tears and said, "You didn't, they carried you." And that's what angels do. They carry you when your strength runs out. They lift when life tries to drag you down. You've never walked alone. Every step you've taken through fire was accompanied by flames that couldn't touch you because heaven's guard was present. As recorded in the book of Psalms, chapter 91, verse 11, "For he will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways." That's not poetry, that's divine protocol. When God assigns angels, he doesn't recall them because you faltered. They don't leave when you doubt. They stay until the mission is complete. You may not always feel them, but sometimes the peace that suddenly fills a room is their presence. The unexpected calm in crisis. The strength that appears when you're weakest. That's them reminding your soul that heaven is still in command. Your life is not random, it's reinforced. The atmosphere around you is layered with divine strategy. You walk in covered territory, even when you feel exposed. Sometimes, angels are disguised as people, a stranger who stopped to help, a friend who called at the exact right moment, a word that reached you when despair tried to drown you. God's messengers come in many forms, all carrying one purpose: to protect, to guide, and to remind you that you are deeply watched over, even in your hardest nights. When the room felt empty, they were there, standing guard, whispering courage, fending off despair. Every morning you've woken up alive, has been evidence of their vigilance. And now, as your faith deepens, their presence becomes more active. You'll begin to sense divine nudges, times when your heart suddenly knows, "Don't go there," or "Wait a little longer." That is heaven's navigation system at work. You are never unguarded, never unaccompanied. The kingdom that called you chosen never leaves its soldiers unprotected. Take a deep breath and realize, the invisible is not absent, it is active. You are not just surrounded, you are shielded. If this truth stirs something within you, pause and make a declaration. Type "guarded by heaven." Write it as a sign of gratitude, not superstition, as a reminder to yourself that unseen protection surrounds your every step. It's not just a phrase, it's a proclamation of trust. When you say it, you align with the truth that you are watched, covered, and guided by divine presence. Every angel assigned to you hears it and moves accordingly. They know their mission to carry you until you stand fully in your promise. So, walk forward now, not in fear, but in quiet authority. The unseen is working. The light moves before you. The guards remain on duty. And as you whisper, "Guarded by heaven," feel what it truly means. Every breath protected, every step guided. You're not lucky, you're covered. You're not alone, you're accompanied by divine order and everlasting watchfulness. Heaven's strategy overrules hell's schemes. Every weapon that was raised against you has been turned into an instrument of wisdom. Every betrayal became a bridge. Every delay, a direction. You didn't lose, you were being led. Life may have looked chaotic, but behind every moment, heaven was weaving order through threads invisible to your sight. What looked like detours were divine reroutes. What looked like endings were quiet beginnings in disguise. There were times when you cried, "Why this? Why now?" But what you didn't see was heaven leaning close, whispering, "Because this will make sense later." Every pain you carried was repurposed by mercy. You thought you were being buried, but you were being planted. I remember a story about a man named Josiah. His closest friend betrayed him in business, leaving him bankrupt. For months, he wrestled with anger and confusion, but out of that brokenness, he built something new, a company that employed people who had also lost everything. Years later, he said, "If that betrayal hadn't happened, I never would have found my purpose." The wound became his wisdom. The loss became his launching point. That's how heaven works. The very stone thrown at you becomes the foundation beneath your feet. God is not in the business of wasting pain. He turns what was meant to destroy you into something that develops you. The Word of God declares in the book of Genesis, chapter 50, verse 20, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." That verse doesn't just tell Joseph's story, it tells yours. The harm that was planned against you became heaven's harvest. Every dark plot backfired into light. Every scheme that tried to silence you only amplified your story. You've been walking through what others would call coincidence, but it's really coordination. Heaven's strategy is not reaction, it's orchestration. God doesn't fix accidents, He fulfills purpose through them. Even your heartbreaks were drafted into the plan. Sometimes He allows loss because it's the only language that can move you from comfort to calling. The detours you dreaded became doors you never knew you needed. It's like a chessboard while you see only a few moves ahead. The master sees the end game. What looked like a setback was actually positioning. You may have felt cornered, but heaven was setting up checkmate. Every tear you've shed was currency that heaven has collected. Every heartbreak, an offering turned into oil. When you pour it back into the world through kindness, forgiveness, and faith, it becomes healing for others. That's how redemption works. It doesn't erase what happened, it redeems its purpose. The same people who thought they buried you will one day look at the garden growing from the ground they tried to cover. And in that moment, you'll realize that vengeance was never yours to hold. Transformation was. The proof that you've healed is that you can now bless what once broke you. Heaven's justice doesn't always arrive with thunder. Sometimes it arrives as peace. And that peace is priceless. You, chosen one, are not standing in ruins. You are standing in resurrection. Every broken plan, every betrayal, every loss, all of it, has been rewritten by divine hands into something beautiful, something useful, something eternal. And when that revelation settles in your heart, gratitude begins to overflow. Gratitude that even pain had purpose. Gratitude that even darkness had direction. Gratitude that you are still standing and shining. If this word resonates with the battles you've walked through, take a breath and let gratitude become your echo. Press the heart not as routine, but as a quiet thank you to the one who turned harm into harvest. Share this message like you're passing a lantern down a dark path, not to boast, but to guide another who's still in shadow. Your story might be the spark that lights someone's way. Subscribe if you wish to walk deeper into these truths, not as an obligation, but as an act of staying near the fire that keeps your spirit warm. And if your heart feels led, donate as a gesture of agreement, not transaction. Think of it as adding wood to the fire. Every contribution keeps the flame burning for someone else who needs this warmth. Not required, not pressured, simply love, continuing its flow. You are part of a divine ripple. What heals you today may heal another tomorrow. Heaven has already turned it all for your good. You don't need to fear the enemy's next move, because God has already played his. And when you finally look back, you'll realize every harm, every heartbreak, every hidden strategy, all of it was working together to lift you to the place you were always meant to be. The shift from warfare to worship is one of the greatest transformations your spirit will ever experience. It's the moment when your hands stop trembling from battle and begin to rise in peace. You've been trained to fight, to defend, to stand your ground against every shadow. But now, heaven whispers a different command. Lay down your sword. Lift up your song. This isn't surrender in weakness, it's surrender in wisdom. Warfare teaches endurance, but worship teaches authority. There comes a time when fighting becomes noise and worship becomes the strategy. When your song replaces your struggle, the atmosphere itself begins to bow. You've spent seasons praying through tears, rebuking storms, and standing on promises. And yes, every fight had its purpose, but even warriors need to rest their armor. The sound of worship is heaven's way of telling you, you've already won. Now, sing like it. When you lift your voice in worship, something invisible shifts. The focus moves from the size of your enemy to the greatness of your God. Fear loses its footing because you stop feeding it attention. You can't worship and worry in the same breath. Worship redirects your gaze, reminding you that the one who spoke galaxies into being still holds your story together. It's like the sun breaking through after relentless rain. The clouds don't vanish instantly, but their dominance fades as light begins to spill across the sky. That's what happens in worship. It doesn't erase your circumstances, but it reframes them. There's a story of a woman named Layla who used to fight everything: her anxiety, her uncertainty, her guilt. She prayed hard, but it always felt like a struggle. One day, exhausted, she whispered, "I have nothing left to fight with." Instead of panic, a stillness settled over her heart. She began to hum softly, not even realizing it was a hymn her grandmother used to sing. Within minutes, she was weeping, not out of pain, but out of release. The fight ended, and freedom entered. That's the power of worship. It wins without wounding. Sometimes, the greatest warfare is silence filled with praise. The enemy expects panic, but instead finds peace. He expects fear, but hears faith. That's when heaven's authority flows through you. You stop reacting and start reigning. When Paul and Silas were thrown into prison, they didn't strategize and escape. They worshipped, and as they sang, the prison shook. The chains didn't just fall from them, they fell from everyone around them. Worship not only liberates you, it liberates those who hear your song. That's why God is calling you to shift. You've already proven you can fight. Now you're learning how to flow. Worship is the highest form of warfare because it invites the presence that darkness cannot exist in. As written in the second book of Chronicles, chapter 20, verse 22, as they began to sing and praise, the Lord set ambushes against the men who were invading Judah, and they were defeated. Now, that verse reveals a mystery. Victory began the moment praise was lifted. Not when swords were drawn. Heaven fights differently. You may not feel like singing yet. That's okay. Worship doesn't always begin with melody. Sometimes it begins with breath. Every exhale that says, "I trust you," is a form of worship. Every time you choose peace instead of panic. Heaven calls it praise. This is your transition from soldier to son, from defender to worshipper. Your scars don't disqualify you. They give your song depth. The same voice that once shouted in warfare now carries tenderness, power, and wisdom. You don't have to understand everything to adore Him. True worship often begins where understanding ends, when your mind has no answers. Let your spirit speak through gratitude. Even a whisper of thanks can echo through eternity. There's a kind of power that only flows from worship born in the dark. It's like the fragrance of crushed incense. It's most potent when pressed. The worship that comes from wounds becomes the worship that heals nations. So, lift your heart, even quietly. You don't have to force it. Let gratitude rise slowly, like dawn spreading over a weary horizon. Let it wash the dust of battle from your soul. You're not abandoning the fight. You're rising above it. You're moving from reaction to revelation, from chaos to communion. This is your new strength. Worship instead of warfare. Rest instead of resistance. The same God who trained your hands for battle is now teaching them to build altars, and in that sacred shift, victory doesn't just visit, it abides. And as you lift your heart in quiet praise, know, this heaven moves when gratitude breathes. The battlefield is behind you now. Your song has become your shield, and peace, your everlasting crown. Prophetic rest and overflow. That's where you stand now. This is no longer about survival, it's about saturation. You are entering the kind of peace that doesn't just comfort you, it carries you. The waiting has turned into witnessing what you planted in tears. You will now harvest in joy. Rest has opened the gates of reward. And heaven is pouring what eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. You are stepping into a divine rhythm, no rush, no scarcity, just continuous flow. You're learning that when you trust, provision becomes natural, not forced. There's a reason God asked you to rest first. Rest is the proof that you believe. It's the soil where blessings take root. When your soul stops running, heaven starts raining. Imagine this, a cup placed under a waterfall. It doesn't strain, doesn't struggle. It simply receives. That's what prophetic rest looks like. It's not stillness out of exhaustion. It's readiness through surrender. You have learned to hold your peace. And now your peace will hold everything else. Overflow is never an accident. It's a divine reaction. When heaven finds stillness, it fills it. The sound of your trust has summoned the abundance written in your name. There's a story of a man named Elias who had lost everything in one long, bitter year. But instead of chasing restoration, he began to thank God for what he still had: breath, hope, and quiet mornings. Within months, doors opened effortlessly. He didn't earn it, he attracted it. His peace became a magnet for miracles. That's prophetic rest. It turns gratitude into gravity, pulling blessings toward you without striving. The same God who multiplied the widow's oil is still multiplying peace into provision today. You no longer have to fight for what's yours. Heaven is releasing it freely. The overflow will come through avenues you never imagined: people, timing, ideas, even coincidences that aren't coincidences at all. As the Word of God reveals in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 12, the Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse of His bounty, to send rain on your land in season and to bless all the work of your hands. End pent. That promise isn't distant, it's unfolding now. The heavens are open above you because your heart is open beneath them. When your inner world aligns with His peace, your outer world begins to reflect His generosity. Overflow doesn't mean excess for ego, it means enough to extend. God doesn't just bless you for you, He blesses you through you. The more peace you hold, the more people will find shelter under your calm. This next chapter isn't about working harder, it's about walking wiser. Your spirit has graduated from survival mode into overflow mindset. You'll begin to see how even simple acts, a kind word, a shared truth, a moment of prayer ripple farther than you realize. Heaven measures abundance not by what you collect, but by what you can carry without corruption. That's why it took time, because you had to become the vessel strong enough to handle this level of grace. Now, everything around you begins to bloom. Conversations bring clarity. Delays turn into divine appointments. Peace becomes contagious wherever you go. This is prophetic overflow. It's when your life begins to prophesy simply by existing. It's important to remember, overflow doesn't always mean more things. It means more presence. You feel it in your mornings, in your prayers, even in your breath. There's a fullness that can't be explained, only experienced. And when that fullness begins to pour from you, don't fear losing it. In God's kingdom, giving doesn't deplete, it multiplies. Every drop you pour out returns as rain. Take this moment to recognize how far you've come. The storm didn't break you. It prepared you to hold the blessing that's now coming your way. If this message stirs something inside you, let your comment be your quiet affirmation. Type 888 below, a symbol of new beginnings flowing into endless grace. The number 8 has always represented renewal, resurrection, and cycles made complete. 3 8s together speak of triple renewal: spirit, soul, and purpose, all aligned under heaven's flow. Writing 888 isn't a ritual. It's your whisper to heaven: I receive this peace. I step into overflow. No, let that small act be your agreement, not with me, but with the season God is ushering you into, a season where rest produces reward, and overflow becomes your new normal, because your cup won't just be full, it will run over. And as you write 888, feel what it signifies: the eternal circle of giving and receiving. You're not chasing blessings anymore. You're flowing with them. Heaven's rhythm surrounds you now, peace in motion, abundance without striving, rest turning endlessly into renewal. The table prepared before your enemies, that's where you're being seated now. Not as a boast, not as revenge, but as revelation. It's the divine moment when what once opposed you becomes the background for God's goodness to shine brighter. The same people who doubted you will witness what grace can do with a surrendered soul. There is a calmness that comes before that table is revealed. Heaven doesn't prepare feasts in haste. Every detail, every chair, every dish is arranged with precision. The waiting was part of the preparation. The silence was the sound of setting. You were never overlooked. You were being positioned for display. For years, you have walked through misunderstanding, rejection, betrayal. You've watched people misjudge your silence, your faith, your kindness. You've been called too soft, too strange, too different. Yet here you are, unbroken, rising quietly because you were never meant to fight for attention. You were meant to carry presence. God's vindication doesn't roar, it reveals. He doesn't need to destroy your enemies to prove your value. He simply blesses you in front of them. The victory is not in humiliation, but in demonstration, showing that grace always grows, even in the soil of judgment. I once heard of a woman named Clara who was mocked for her faith. Her co-workers laughed when she spoke about hope, saying her prayers were a waste of time. For years, she kept serving, loving, and showing up. One by one, the same people who mocked her began coming to her for advice, for prayer, for peace. Her table appeared, not in gold and grandeur, but in respect and redemption. That's how God prepares it in plain sight. Quietly, undeniably, the same voices that said, "She won't make it," will soon whisper, "How did she make it?" That's the beauty of God's table. It turns mockery into marvel. It's not revenge, it's revelation of His faithfulness. When you walk into that moment, don't gloat, stay gracious. The blessing is not to prove superiority, but to prove stability, that peace endures longer than pride. You will eat in peace where others tried to plant chaos. You will drink joy where bitterness once grew. There's a weight to that kind of victory, not the heavy kind that tires you, but the kind that humbles you, because deep down, you'll know it was never your strength. It was His mercy. as written in the book of Psalms, chapter 23, verse 5. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. That verse isn't about triumph over others. It's about triumph over fear. To sit at a table in front of those who despised you requires trust, not tension. It's the confidence that says, I'm safe. Even here. End of. The anointing that follows is not for show, it's for stewardship. Oil, in ancient times, symbolized purpose, something sacred poured upon thee, chosen to mark divine selection. That's you now. The oil is flowing, not to elevate your ego, but to strengthen your calling. And notice how the verse ends. My cup overflows. The feast isn't only for you, it's for those watching. Your overflow becomes their invitation. Those who once mocked will taste mercy through your life. The power of this table lies in your posture. You sit, not as a victor demanding attention, but as a vessel reflecting grace. The stillness in your heart becomes the sermon that words could never preach. Sometimes, the greatest sermon is a life that keeps shining in peace. The enemies of your past are no longer opponents, they become witnesses. They'll see that what was meant to harm you became holy ground for healing. Think of Joseph, sitting across from the brothers who sold him into slavery. He didn't seek revenge, he offered provision. That's what happens when heaven hosts the table. Pain becomes a banquet of redemption. And when your table finally appears, it won't just feed you, it will nourish generations after you. Your peace will become their inheritance. So, sit with grace. Eat with gratitude. Let the oil flow and the cup run over. You don't need to explain how you got here. The table itself tells the story, a story of endurance, forgiveness, and divine justice wrapped in love. Heaven never forgets those who trusted through tears. The feast is ready. The seat has your name. And every eye that once watched your struggle will soon see your restoration not as punishment, but as proof, because this is what divine vindication looks like: peace, presence, and provision laid before you in perfect harmony. Overflow becomes your lifestyle now. What once came as rare moments of relief will soon flow as a rhythm of life. You are no longer praying for breakthrough, you are walking in it. The ground beneath you that once cracked under pressure is now fertile with blessing. What once drained you now fills you. You are learning to live not from lack, but from divine supply. Overflow doesn't shout, it flows quietly. It shows up in small ways, in laughter, returning to your mornings, in opportunities that feel effortless, in the peace that no longer wavers when plans change. You wake up aware that grace has become your atmosphere. What you need comes, not because you chase it, but because heaven recognizes your readiness. You see, overflow isn't about abundance in the material sense, it's about abundance in the spiritual. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, you are held, provided for, sustained. When you live from that awareness, every part of your life begins to harmonize. It's like a river flowing through a once dry valley. The land doesn't beg for water, it simply receives it when the clouds open. That's how divine overflow moves, not rushed, not random, but rhythmic. It finds the surrendered hearts and fills them to fullness. There's a man I once met named Caleb. He used to pray, God, just give me enough to survive. But one night, after years of struggle, he felt a gentle question in his spirit. Why do you only ask to survive when I've called you to overflow? It changed him. He began to pray differently, not for excess, but for enough to bless others. Within months, what was once barely enough became more than sufficient, and he shared it freely. As if giving opened invisible wells. It did, because in God's economy, generosity multiplies, not depletes. Overflow isn't about having everything, it's about lacking nothing that peace requires. It's the end of the anxious chase and the beginning of confident stillness. You don't measure your life by possessions anymore, but by presence, the awareness that God is here, guiding every step, turning every breath into blessing, as written in the second book of Corinthians, chapter 9, verse 8. And God is able to bless you abundantly, so that in all things, at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work. That verse defines overflow, not accumulation, but availability. You are being equipped, resourced, and sustained, so you can pour without fear of running dry. You've spent seasons learning how to survive on little. Now you're learning how to steward much. The discipline you developed in drought becomes the wisdom you'll need in abundance. God doesn't release overflow until He knows your heart won't hoard it. That's why He took His time not to withhold, but to prepare. Overflow begins in the unseen. It starts with gratitude that swells until it can't stay inside. It's that moment when you realize you've been given far more than you deserve, not in things, but in grace. You carry peace where there used to be panic, wisdom where there used to be confusion, and faith where there used to be fear. That's the true evidence of overflow. It's the same way a tree proves its life not by its roots, but by its fruit. The roots are hidden, but the fruit feeds others. Your journey has been deepening your roots, and now the fruit will appear not to decorate you, but to nourish others. You may find people coming to you for counsel, for comfort, for clarity. That's not coincidence, that's overflow flowing outward. You're becoming a well others can drink from. And the beautiful truth is, no matter how many come to draw from your water, you'll never run out. The source within you never empties. There will be days when blessings surprise you, unexpected provision, unplanned favor, quiet restoration in places you thought were lost. Don't chase them, let them come. The rhythm of overflow is peace, not pursuit. You have shifted from asking, "When will it happen?" to simply saying, "Thank you that it already is." That's the sound of overflow, gratitude replacing anxiety, praise replacing impatience. You no longer need to grip tightly to promises. They've already taken root. What's meant for you cannot pass you. And what's coming next won't require strain to receive. So, let the river run through you. Let your words, your work, your walk become reflections of this fullness. Overflow doesn't stop with you. It continues through you. Every act of kindness, every word of faith, every breath of peace carries heaven's abundance into the world. This is your new rhythm. Not trying, but trusting. Not chasing, but channeling. You are no longer striving for what you already contain. The river of God flows from within you now, and everywhere it touches, life returns. Overflow isn't coming, it's here. Rise now as a voice of peace and power. You've walked through fire, through silence, through storms that tried to erase your sound, but instead, They refined it. Now, your voice carries something holy. It doesn't echo with fear anymore. It resonates with faith. When you speak now, heaven leans closer. The world around you is noisy, filled with opinions, arguments, and fear. But you, chosen one, were never called to add to the noise. You were called to bring stillness that cuts through it. Peace is your language, and power is your tone. You carry calm that disarms chaos. Peace is not weakness. It's authority wrapped in gentleness. When you walk into a room and darkness begins to quiet, that's not coincidence. That's spiritual command. You carry the fragrance of heaven wherever you go. And those who sense it may not understand it, but they'll feel it. The truth is, your peace terrifies what once tried to break you. Because you no longer react, you respond. You no longer fight for validation, you flow in revelation. You have become the calm in the storm, the steady light in a world trembling under confusion. There's a story of a man named Jonah who used to shout his truth to everyone who doubted him. The louder he shouted, the less they listened. But one day, he stopped shouting. He began to live in peace, working quietly, loving deeply, praying softly, and without realizing it, people began to gather around him, not for his noise, but for his stillness. They said, "When we're near you, we feel safe." That's what you're becoming, a resting place for weary souls. You've discovered that peace isn't passive, it's prophetic. It's the announcement that you trust the outcome even when you can't see it. That's why your voice matters now, not because of volume, but because of weight. As written in the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 7, "When a man's ways please the Lord, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him." That's the posture of true power. You no longer seek control, you carry harmony. Even your presence begins to align what was once chaotic. Now, as you rise into this next season, remember that power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. It is well. You are the lighthouse that doesn't chase ships. It stands still, and yet it guides them home. And this message, this light, must continue to travel, not by force, but by flow. If this word has found your heart today, let it ripple outward. Press the heart, not as a button, but as a heartbeat, a silent way of saying, "I feel this peace too." Share it, not as promotion, but as participation, like lighting another candle from your own flame. Every share becomes a spark that finds someone still lost in night. And if you've felt this message, breathe life into your spirit. Comment below, not for visibility, but for agreement. You could simply write, "Peace speaks." Let those words stand as a declaration that peace has found its voice again through you. Subscribe, not because you must, but because you want to keep walking this road together, step by step, word by word, toward deeper light. Think of it not as following, but as traveling in the same direction. And if your heart feels moved to donate, let it be like pouring oil into a lamp that has already given you light. No pressure, no price, just a quiet act of continuation, a way to keep the glow alive for someone else. Every drop of kindness, every gift, keeps the flame steady in this digital temple of words. You're not funding content, you're fueling comfort. Peace and power are not separate forces. They are twins born from trust. You are stepping into that dual nature now. You will speak with compassion, but stand with courage. You will move softly, yet shake foundations. You are the storm's calm, the battlefield's quiet, the living proof that serenity can be strength. And as your voice rises, it won't be loud, it will be lasting. Because voices birthed from stillness don't fade, they echo through generations. So, breathe deeply. Let this peace settle in your bones. Let this power rest in your tone. You are becoming the evidence that love still wins, that gentleness still moves mountains, and that heaven still speaks through human hearts. Peace speaks, and it sounds like you. And as your peace begins to speak, let the world hear its melody, soft yet unshakable. Every word you carry is light, disguised as breath. Every act of kindness, another chord in heaven's eternal song of calm and strength. The seal cannot be broken. What heaven has written over your life is final. No power of darkness, no voice of accusation, no whisper of doubt can undo what the Creator himself has decreed. You are sealed not with ink that fades or wax that melts, but with spirit that endures. You've walked through many tests, wondering if your mistakes could void the promise. But grace doesn't come with fine print. The same God who called you knew every weakness you'd have, every detour you'd take, every scar you'd bear. Still, He chose you. Still, He sealed you. This seal isn't fragile, it's eternal. It's not based on your perfection, but on His purpose. The blood that marked you is stronger than the shame that tried to stain you. You can rest knowing that what He began, He will finish. Heaven doesn't draft temporary covenants. Sometimes you feel unworthy, the weight of past failures still knocking on your heart. But that's just the echo of an old story that no longer defines you. The seal means that every page of accusation has been torn out of your book. You are written in a new volume now, one titled Redeemed. Picture an ancient letter carried across kingdoms, sealed with the king's emblem. Anyone who dares to break that seal without authority faces the full wrath of the throne. That's how protected you are. The seal of heaven carries divine ownership, declaring, "This one belongs to me." Every time the enemy tries to reach for you, he sees that mark and he remembers his defeat. The seal doesn't mean the storms will stop. It means the storms can't sink you. You may bend under pressure, but you will not break. Your life is guarded by decree, as written in the book of Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 13. When you believed, you were marked in Him with a seal, the promised Holy Spirit. That mark is not symbolic, it's spiritual authority. It's the invisible signature of heaven that follows you wherever you go. It says to every dark force, "Access denied." In the world may label you by your past, but heaven labels you by your destiny. The seal testifies of divine ownership. You are not wandering property. You are a kept vessel. Sometimes, you may not feel sealed. Life's blows can make you question if the protection is still active. But the seal doesn't depend on how you feel. It depends on what God said. And His word doesn't waver. You've faced betrayal, heartbreak, temptation, and loss, and yet you're still here. That's evidence of the seal at work. It's not that the attacks never came, it's that they couldn't cross the boundary heaven set. The seal is like the blood on the doorposts in Egypt, a silent sign that kept destruction from entering. It doesn't boast. It simply stands as proof of divine covering. That's what rests on you now. Even in your weakest moments, the seal remains. Even when your faith trembles, your foundation holds. You don't have to earn your security. It's already issued. Think of a pearl inside its shell. It forms under pressure, unseen, protected by layers that resist intrusion. The seal works like that, guarding the treasure inside you until it's time for unveiling. You may not understand the isolation, but it's preservation, not punishment. Heaven seals what it values most. Every trial you've survived wasn't luck, it was legality. The courts of heaven had already ruled in your favor, and the seal enforced the verdict. The enemy may have requested permission to sift you, but grace said, you can touch their surroundings, not their soul. You live under a decree of divine ownership. You are not drifting, you are designated. The seal ensures that every promise spoken over your life finds fulfillment, even when circumstances try to contradict it. There will be days when you wonder if God has forgotten you, when prayers feel unanswered and progress feels delayed. But the seal is your reminder that silence isn't absence. The King doesn't revoke his signature because of your uncertainty. His promises outlast your feelings. So lift your head. You are covered, claimed, and carried. The mark upon your spirit cannot be erased by time or trial. It's not just protection, it's identity. You are sealed as chosen, marked as eternal, and written into the story that no power can edit. The seal cannot be broken because the hand that placed it will never let go. And when doubt tries to whisper otherwise, remember, his mark remains. You are sealed in promise, hidden in purpose, and held in hands that have never once released what they claimed. Rest, receive, and reign. This is the moment everything you've endured begins to make sense. The storm wasn't sent to destroy you, it was sent to reveal what could never be shaken. You are standing now in the calm after years of wind, and the silence that surrounds you isn't emptiness, it's completion. This final stretch of your journey is not about doing more, proving more, or striving harder. It's about breathing again. You've spent so long surviving that you almost forgot what living feels like. But here, in this sacred stillness, you begin to feel life return, not rushed, not demanded, but gently renewed. Rest is not a pause, it's a position. It's sitting in the seat that grace built for you, a throne of peace that no enemy can overthrow. You have fought long enough. Now you are learning how to rule through rest. When you rest, you reign, because you stand in harmony with heaven's design. You were never meant to live as a beggar of blessings. You were called to be a carrier of them. Receiving is not greed, it's agreement. It's saying, yes, Lord, I believe you meant what you promised. When you finally stop resisting grace, it floods your soul like light, entering an open window. There's an image that captures this perfectly, a garden after rain. The ground is soft. The air smells of renewal, and everything glistens under the light. Nothing in the garden works to bloom. It simply responds to the rhythm of heaven. That's what's happening inside you now. You're blooming without striving. For so long, you've worked to hold everything together: relationships, responsibilities, dreams. You've lived with your hands clenched in effort. But now, God is teaching you the beauty of open hands. When you release control, you make room for miracles. Receiving is not passive, it's powerful. It's trust in action. It's knowing that what's meant for you won't require you to beg for it. It will arrive, not because you're lucky, but because you're aligned, as revealed in the book of Romans, chapter 5, verse 17. For if, by the trespass of the one man, death reigned through that one man, how much more will those who receive God's abundant provision of grace and of the gift of righteousness reign in life through the one man, Jesus Christ? Now, that's your reality now, reigning, not striving. You've received grace, and grace has given you authority, not authority to dominate, but to dwell in peace. True dominion looks like balance, knowing when to move and when to be still, when to speak and when to listen. You reign when you refuse to be moved by fear. You reign when you choose peace over panic. You reign when you wake each morning and say, God, I trust you even here. The crown you wear is invisible to the world, but heaven sees it clearly. It was forged through tears, humility, and endurance. Every time you chose faith over frustration, another jewel was set in place. That's why your reign begins quietly, not with trumpets, but with tranquility. You have become the embodiment of resilience, soft but unbreakable, humble but powerful, calm but commanding. The kind of person who doesn't need to prove they've arrived, because peace itself is proof. The kingdom you rule is not external, it's internal. It's the realm of your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions. When you guard your peace, you guard your throne. You no longer let chaos dictate your pace. You reign by maintaining harmony within, and that harmony begins to shape everything around you. This is your inheritance: to live lightly, love deeply, and lead quietly. To walk into every room carrying rest like royalty carries presence. You don't announce your authority, you emanate it. There's a grace that flows from you now, a serenity that tells the world you have seen storms and survived them. You carry the calm that only those who have endured can understand. So take this moment, breathe, smile, and recognize the beauty of where you stand. You're not behind, you're precisely on time. Every delay, every detour, every disappointment has served its purpose. You have arrived, not at the end, but at the beginning of ease. Rest, receive, and reign. This is not the closing of your story, it's the coronation of it. The King has signed his name over your life, and his decree stands eternal. Peace is your portion, victory your position, and glory your inheritance forever. And as you step forward, crowned in calm, know this rest is your throne, faith your scepter, and love your reign. You are not just surviving history, you are shaping eternity through every peaceful breath you take. And now, chosen one, you've reached the closing of this message, not an ending, but an awakening. You've walked through fire, silence, and divine timing. You've learned to rest, to receive, to reign. What you carry now isn't just inspiration, it's ignition. You've become a living reflection of peace, strength, and grace in motion. If something inside you stirred while reading these words, that's not coincidence. That's confirmation. A whisper from heaven saying, this is your time. So before you go, take a quiet moment. Let gratitude rise like gentle light through morning clouds. If these words found you, press the heart, not for numbers, but as your silent Amen. It's a way of saying, this truth lives in me now. I'll share this message the way one candle shares its flame softly, selflessly, lighting the path for someone still walking through their night. You never know whose weary spirit might find hope through the light you pass forward. If the peace in these words settled something in your heart, comment a single phrase that feels true to you. Maybe, I'm ready, peace remains. Or simply, still standing. It's not about attention, it's about agreement, a way for heaven to hear your yes. And if you found value, warmth, or healing here, consider subscribing not as obligation, but as companionship. This is a space where light gathers, where your soul can keep returning to rest. Lastly, if you ever feel led to donate, let it be from gratitude, not guilt. Think of it as pouring a little oil into the lamp that gave you light. Every drop helps this flame reach another searching soul. You are part of something sacred now, a flow of words and hearts intertwined. Together, we keep the light alive. May peace follow your every breath. May grace fill your every step. And may love never stop finding you.